listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
So, as I often do, I have a fashion question for you. I don't know if you can see what I'm wearing right now.
I noticed it has a bell sleeve or like a balloon sleeve, and I was very excited about it.
Yeah, so it's a sweatshirt dress, like a big sweatshirt.
Oh, it's a dress.
A dress.
Yeah, it's actually a dress.
Oh.
But,
cool.
Okay, that's my question. I don't know if, like, a sweatshirt dress should be worn out. Like, am I wearing pajamas right now is what my question is. And if I wore it
I
out...
wear sweatshirt dresses out
Oh,
all
do
the
you?
time throughout the fall and winter. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. I started doing the sweatshirt dress, I would say about 4 years ago for fall and winter, and I love it and I have no regrets.
But you wear leggings under it, right? You don't
I do.
go
I don't go
bare-legged.
bare-legged because honestly, if you're going to be warm up top, you don't want to be cold on the bottom.
Well,
But
yeah.
I think that makes a difference to the look.
It does. It does. But strategically, I felt like what you meant was that there's this transition period we're in right now, right? Where it's fall. It's a little bit cooler in the morning and the evenings, but it's still pretty hot during the day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the sweatshirt dress felt like a transitionary kind of outfit.
I think sometimes it can be too hot for like this particular week, like that initial week.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be no hotter than 12 degrees.
That's so specific.
It's so specific.
Yeah.
But if I'm really being honest about it, I want it to be no hotter. Because also, like, sometimes I run a little bit hot. Right now, I've got like that sort of like post-surgically induced menopause thing. So I'm not having a ton of hot flashes, but I am periodically having like hot flashes. And the last thing I want to be doing while I'm having a hot flash is wearing a sweater dress.
Yeah. And that's why a sweatshirt dress seemed to make sense.
Well, I think like if you accessorize it and wear tights and wear like A-dubs every time I see you, and when like you've got stuff going on with the outfit, like it's a full outfit, then I think it works as a daytime thing you wear out. But I think if you're like just going sweatshirt dress with Birkenstocks and bare legs,
it looks like pajamas, right? It does.
Yeah, it does look like pajamas.
It does,
and maybe you're okay with that. But that's what people think when they see you.
But like half the time, people who are wearing those large maxi dresses that are like, what's that specific style, like trad wife kind of?
Oh yeah.
Like they look like they're wearing nightgowns out in public anyways. It's like basically like one step up from Laura Ashley circa like 1980s.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Everyone looks like they're wearing pajamas in public at this point, because I think we haven't left, we obviously have not left the pandemic behind. And frankly, some of us have never left lockdown behind. So
well, I mean, earlier before we came on the mic, we were talking about how sad fashion in Vancouver is.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I was just out for a nice dinner at what I would say like is a fine dining establishment in our neighborhood, and like a group of many people, like probably 5 or 6 people in that group came to eat, and they're all like, it looked like they were wearing they had just stopped jogging and decided to come in and have dinner. And like, that's how they were, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, even for Vancouver, it seemed beyond the pale, like bad.
I was at a little bit fancy-ish restaurant for brunch over the weekend, and the man sitting at the bar, he was alone eating. He was wearing just like his shower shoes. I was a little bit upset.
Like a Croc, or what's a shower shoe?
Even worse than a Croc, just like a slide, just like
those. Yeah. Why is Vancouver so terrible at getting dressed?
Well, I get the whole sort of, it's so fun, everyone's so laid back, but isn't there a sense of occasion, like, that you want to dress in something, like, you know what I mean?
Just like a little bit nicer.
It just feels like people are like, I gotta be dressed in case I decide to go for a run or a hike.
Everyone
So
is
I gotta have an outfit that
Yes.
works for both things.
Everyone is constantly dressing for like the entire day because like as
good
if
point.
like they never go back home to change or whatever.
Mhm.
Like they're just like, okay, well, I'm going to go do the gross grind in the morning, so I'm just gonna like wear my
Yeah.
sweaty, gross clothes all day and
to the office and then out
yeah.
for dinner and
Yeah.
then to a show.
But I did
Yeah,
see
no, it's not good.
I did see a bit by the comedian Jim Gaffigan. Do you know him?
Yep.
Yeah, so he was doing a bit about being in Vancouver or Seattle, somewhere around here. And he was just like, what you notice when you get there is fleece. So much fleece. And
Yeah.
it's because, as you said, he said they're ready in case a spontaneous hike comes up, like somebody calls and says, can you
So-
hike with us? You can say, yes, I can.
So I was at the Billy Bragg concert last week at the Commodore,
Uh-huh.
and man,
Yeah.
that crowd was eclectic.
Yeah.
I was standing behind a woman dressed like Emily Gilmore. Like she was wearing like pearls and a black tweed dress. And then also half the people there were dressed like they just came from the folk festival. Like they're
Yep.
wearing Hawaiian shirts and shorts and like hats. You would think that somebody's audience has some kind of, consistent way of dressing because they're the same demographic or whatever. But Billy Bragg's audience was just the spectrum of clothes you see in Vancouver. It was painful.
Oh. But I do have a theory.
Mm.
This is my theory. I feel like there are some people, and an awful lot of them apparently are in Vancouver, that feel like somehow dressing well makes them feel like old. And that,
Oh, like it's giving in to the man or something?
yeah, like they're like of a old fashioned or something. Whereas,
Oh, okay.
like by dressing sort of down, it makes them look younger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think they get this in their head, like you were saying, that Hawaiian shirt look, which all of a sudden it's just like a man. I don't know. I'd like to study it. They just all of a sudden it's like some sort of like a puberty thing, but it's the opposite, right? It hits.
It's the Tommy Bahamas
Yeah.
era.
Yes.
Of like
and then all of us
With the
Yeah.
sandal, with the sandals.
Yeah.
all of a
yeah.
sudden they're like, you know what? A cargo short and this Hawaiian print shirt.
I'd also like to blame a lot of like, as Vancouver becomes more of a city with like a tech bro like culture, just generally that is not a people I think of as like a stylish people, like tech bros in general, like, a lot of Bill Gates type dressers, like in all honesty,
The normcore
mean,
kind of.
the normcore, like Steve Jobs actually was like relatively chic with a turtleneck. At least he had a statement piece. Like I just, RIP. But like I think like the sort of like different, very unusual sectors that have started to thrive here are also sort of like negatively impacting our aesthetic.
Why can't we have like
culturally?
The students at Emily Carr should be like pulling the city up with
Absolutely, but we've like sort of isolated them over to like at least when they were on Granville Island, we could see like a lot more of their like style. I feel like now that they're on the campus that's sort of just like isolated on its own, I almost never see
I know.
Emily Carr students with like their beautiful outfits.
I know. It's what I think it is too also is that for these certain men, as we're discussing, young and old, there is one movie and one cultural icon that they all aspire to be. I flew on a plane recently and there was a guy who, I'm not kidding you, went from watching a children's movie, like he's a grown man and he was watching that movie with Mario, a cartoon Mario.
Uh-huh.
And then The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
A man who gets away with never cutting his hair and wearing a robe 24/7.
Honestly, I would prefer. Look, I'm going to say it right now. I would rather hang out with a man who wears a robe all the time, and I live already with a man who doesn't cut his hair, to like a man who's constantly wearing socks, sandals, and Hawaiian shirts. Like, I will choose open robe over socks, sandals, Hawaiian shirts.
Okay, it's slightly skewed by the fact that Jeff Bridges is a very attractive man, and I think that's the part they're missing.
I do love an unkempt hero.
Yeah, well,
That's
no,
my
I mean
favorite.
he works it, right? Like it's his own look.
Yeah.
But I felt that guy watching the movie, and when you talk to certain guys, they watch that movie and they're like, "That's the ticket. That's the guy."
I also feel like there's a lot of guys who dress like Seinfeld still, and I really hate that. Like, that's who I think of as like, ugh, that look. The only high moment of fashion in that show ever was like the pirate blouse.
Oh,
And,
Elaine dressed well. I think
Elaine was fine.
yes,
Elaine,
yes.
I'm talking about
Even Kramer
Jerry,
dressed better.
Kramer actually had some pretty good
He did.
outfits. Like,
Yeah,
he did.
I mean,
He was a dapper fellow.
he was. He always, he put together, some like he had some style.
He cut a sharp vest.
He did. Whereas, yeah, you're right. Jerry and George just like I know there was even an episode where George was in sweats, right? And
The whole time, yeah.
and Jerry just says, "Looks like you gave up." I'm like, well, I'm sorry to say, it's not that far off what he used to do.
Well, in all honesty, I can't. Again, Jerry Seinfeld passing on fashion advice about how it looks like. Like, did you ever see him not in a pair of like black jeans, running shoes, and a tucked in button-up shirt? Like, that was like
One of my
he only had one look.
I will just say that one of my favorite episodes was when Kramer convinces Jerry to get his shoes fixed at the shop, and he takes all of his running shoes there, because that's the other part of the outfit, right? Sneakers.
Yeah.
And all Jerry has to wear is cowboy boots.
Oh yeah. I do remember that.
Okay, now that is an outfit.
That is an outfit. I would love it if like just a bunch of like whatever. It's just nice when like there's a tiny bit of a point of view. That's all. That's
Some
all
thought.
I want.
Yeah.
Some thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we even
Here we go.
get so much thought in so many outfits, and we even get like a little gross like trying on montage in what we're going to talk about. That came out of nowhere for me, I gotta say.
Even in a
I
shopping
think-
mall? But, okay.
Wait, that aspect was on my mind for the entire movie.
Wasn't it?
Like what I would have done
In a shopping
pulled
mall.
up in a shopping mall.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
no.
That they did not take advantage of whatsoever.
I really wanted more shopping mall time. Which I guess makes me one of the zombies. Okay. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And you're listening to Pop This. And it's Zombie Month.
Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. That will sound very good in people's ears.
I honestly, so we don't give you ASMR. We give you zombie.
That's
growls.
right, yeah.
And
If you hear that sound, run. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, I want AG. I hope that you use that as like the sound cue for every episode of Zombie Month. Yeah. So we've done different months for Halloween in the past. We've always done some specific programming around this.
Last year was
special
the
Halloween
Twilight year,
day.
right? The Twilight season.
Yeah,
Yep.
we did Twilight. We've done Witches for a couple years.
Yeah.
Maybe more than 2. I don't know. We've done a lot of stuff, and this year we're going zombies.
Yeah.
Now,
Not like something new. I mean,
will this make sense for us as a podcast? We don't know. We're here to try it out, though.
yes.
Does this episode make sense for us as a podcast?
I will say that there has been more debate about the zombie films we're going to do than there has been many other times. Because there are so many.
I think. Yeah, there are so many, and I feel like everyone kind of has a specific flavor of zombie. think there's some contention about what is a good zombie film and what is not. Because I think this might be the genre where there's more.
I would love to hear the rationale behind it because I have no idea.
I don't specifically know myself, but I think I can say that, like, while there are elements of the film that we're about to discuss that I enjoyed, like, it would be weird for me to just say flat out, yes, this is a good zombie film. Because, not to get to the end of the podcast already, but I just felt like I was in a video game, the whole time. So, like, this might be a good first person shooter game. I don't know that it was like
this particular one or the zombie genre.
This particular one.
Oh, okay.
This particular one. Like this particular one. Yeah. I feel like I have an idea of what I like in zombie films. Not that I've seen that many, but I think I've seen enough that I like them when they're sort of like a little bit funny, a little bit quirky, a little bit weird, and have like a lot of social commentary. And I did watch 5 seasons of iZombie. So I have that to fall back on.
Right. And then there's The Walking Dead, and yeah.
I gave your iZombie education to fall back on.
You know, that's the thing. I stuck with iZombie the entire time. I gave up on Walking Dead after 1 season.
Yeah, me as well.
Anyway. All right. We're talking about Dawn of the Dead. Are we talking about the original? No.
Because it wasn't available.
It's not available. We are talking about the 2004 remake. And when I saw who it was directed by, when I saw who it was written by, and then when I saw who it was starring, I thought, none of this adds up.
No, you're... It is a confusing mix, I've got to say. But I also think for, I mean, I knew Sarah Polley was in this. I'm not a big fan of Zack Snyder, so the fact that this is his directorial debut really didn't move me much. But James Gunn, I thought was pretty interesting.
So what else has Zack Snyder done?
Well, there's the Snyder cut of like the Batman movie.
A lot of superhero movies, but he also did 300, which I think I am Sparta is, almost as good as my zombie sound.
Yeah, like if you read anything about this movie, there's like a lot of people nerding out about his movies and talking about like what their favorites are and how this one's the best. And
he has a bit of a toxic fanboy culture around him, unfortunately. So there's that as a sort of context for what he has built in the last 20 years.
Really likes the superhero stuff, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And video game stuff.
Yeah, it was a real struggle to find anything other than kind of the fan culture commentary on this movie to talk about.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense, honestly. It's the film's 20th anniversary, which, like, we so rarely get the anniversaries right. I cannot believe we got it right for this one.
20 years, wow. It's kind of remarkable, actually.
Did it feel like, I know we still haven't done background and synopsis and stuff like this, but like, I was glad that I watched it now and not while we were in the pandemic, because it made me it really like freaked me out a little bit to like think about those early days of the pandemic and lockdown and everything. And like that this was, even though I had never seen this movie, elements of this were like sort of my like deepest fear about like how quickly we could devolve.
Wow. I usually think about it and I didn't this time. That's weird. Yeah, I usually do, but
I really don't like gory, bloody movies. That's why I don't watch many zombie movies. So I just kind of like looked away from the screen a lot, but also focused on like thinking about what I would do if I was in a mall and how like I would learn how to like work the New York Fry station and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, get some gravy going, and I know, yeah.
Like what they didn't cook any of the fast food.
Nope.
What's that about?
They use the beer, but I understand that too. But yeah.
But also like going around to all those places, trying things on, like getting all the outfits together.
I did. I mean, I know we're gonna get to the other stuff, but I did enjoy the fact that it was quite fun that they didn't make a big production about it, but every time you saw them, they were always in different clothes. I thought that was pretty funny. Not all of them, but some of them.
Well, that's why, like, I kind of wanted to see more of that. I guess ultimately it's a tight 1 hour 40 in a way. So
They're
like,
not going to go to the prom dress store and try stuff on.
unfortunately not. We have to see like another piece of brain hit the camera. How can you, possibly make space for
Can
trying
you
on a nice
imagine
dress?
like mastering the Yogenfru station? That would be great.
Well, the electricity
what?
was still running, so the potential is there for everything, right?
And in
Yeah.
2004, you would have definitely had a muffins or like a Cinnabon
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh, Cinnabon. Yeah.
I know. That would have been tasty.
I think
Yeah.
of like the buffet they could have had every evening.
I was a little disappointed too that they didn't exploit. There was a Roots I saw, and I love Roots
Yeah, I
sweatshirts
saw that
and
Roots.
sweatpants
Yeah.
and good socks. Like, oh, I would love that, but nope.
They didn't do anything. I mean, maybe it's because the mall that they filmed in was slated for demolition. So like they didn't want to repack the stores with a bunch of stuff. They just like gave us like the only store that we really spend time in is the saddest children's store in the world. And then becomes a zombie delivery room.
Oh, don't.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
All the makeup counters that would be there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
it is kind of fascinating to me to watch Sarah Polley's character Anna go from no makeup, like she's like she wakes up in the morning anyway, and then she like ends the movie in full makeup, and also having just told a man that his use of a electric saw as a murdering device is the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to her.
It's called character progression. That's what you're missing there.
But that came out of nowhere.
I know.
You feel like we
No.
lost 5 minutes? Like there was a really important edit that like we just totally like it was the giant buzzsaw supposed to like replicate something else? Like I don't understand what
I don't
Yeah.
even understand. Like their whole decision-making process for this movie baffles me because it's like, oh, you want to go out there and basically offer yourself up to zombies, or are you gonna like hold out in the small as long as possible? Because like think of how many restaurants must be in there and how much food storage they must have. There's not that many people in their group.
Yeah.
They could probably last a pretty long time.
But
They
they
could have
did. They
probably been
addressed
up for a
that.
couple
There was a
years.
scene, right, where they were like, "Do we just sit here waiting to die? Which shouldn't we
Or
get
do you
out
go
there?"
out there waiting to die?
Well,
Go out there and die immediately.
I mean, like, I think this is a good question. One of those this or that questions. It's like, do you or would you like to see yourself as one of those people after the zombie apocalypse trying to survive, or would you like to just be killed quickly? And I would like to be killed quickly. So
I mean, I would like to try to at least have a fighting chance. I would be in the mall, but I'm not looking to leave the mall to go find an island where there is no food and we don't know if it's populated with zombies. Yeah, no, I'm good.
yeah, see, there's that too.
Yeah.
Yep. There are so many questions. So many questions.
So many questions.
Mhm.
All right, I guess we should go back to the beginning.
Yes.
Let us do some background information here. It's a lengthy background.
Mhm.
We've got some good information here. Lisa, over to you.
Sure. Dawn of the Dead is a 2004 action horror film directed by Zack Snyder in his feature directorial debut with a screenplay by James Gunn. It's a remake of George A. Romero's 1978 film of the same name. It stars an ensemble cast that includes Sarah Polley, Ving Rhames, Jake Weber, Mekhi Phifer, Scott Reinger, Tom Savini, and Ken Foree from the original film appears in cameos. I also want to say Ty Burrell, who you later know in Modern Family, which is so funny. Anyway, set in Milwaukee.
Playing quite a character here.
Yeah. Set in Milwaukee.
Also-
who else?
George A. Romero apparently hated this version of the film.
Yes. I think we can.
I can see that.
Yes, I can see that too. Set in Milwaukee, the film follows a group of survivors who try to survive a zombie apocalypse holed up in a suburban shopping mall. Producers Eric Newman and Mark Abraham developed the film rather as a re-envisioning of the original Dawn of the Dead, aiming to reinvigorate the zombie genre for modern audiences. They bought the rights from producer Richard P. Rubenstein, who produced the original and hired Gunn to write the script, which oriented the original's premise around the action genre. Intent on making the remake a straight horror, Snyder took over to direct with the goal of keeping every aspect of the production as grounded in reality as possible. Filming took place from June to September 2003 on location at a Toronto shopping mall that was slated for demolition. Dawn of the Dead was a commercial success, grossing $102.3 million worldwide on a $26 million budget. Retrospective reviews have called it Snyder's best film. A spiritual successor, Army of the Dead, was released in 2021.
A spiritual.
What does that mean, do you think? That's all from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means.
Have you seen the movie?
Army
Lisa?
of the Dead? No, I've not seen it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen Army of the Dead. No.
I have to imagine that it's just not a straight up sequel, but it's like in the same vein.
Yeah, spiritual is a weird word for that.
Yeah. AG, do you want to read the synopsis?
Sure. An unexplained plague has decimated the world's population, and yet the dead aren't dying. They become zombies, stalking endlessly in a constant quest to feed on the flesh and blood of the few remaining living. A ragtag group of desperate survivors in a Wisconsin town seek refuge in a large indoor mall, where they must learn not only to protect themselves from the ever-increasing zombie horde, but to also coexist with each other as a last bastion of humanity. Sealed off from the rest of what used to be the world, the group uses every available resource, both within and without, in their against all odds fight to remain alive and human. And that is from Movie Insider.
You know, I really do appreciate zombies as these like stand-ins for the 1%. In that they just extract, consume, not realizing that eventually there'll be nothing left for them to do, and then they'll just like perish into nothingness. Like, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the anti-capitalist spirit of a lot of zombie culture. But
Zombie culture.
And so I think that's like one of the things I like about zombie films in general is I feel like they often, not always, but often are really commenting on sort of like, you know, just like sort of demented overconsumption. So I appreciate that.
See, I think the reason I like zombie films is especially like there's that moment when they all realize they're in a zombie apocalypse. And then it is after that, it is this chance for the people who are still surviving to have a completely different life. Like it's a restart in a weird way. And I think this movie did a good job of that, of showing these people who are kind of like shedding some old parts of themselves that they don't need anymore and becoming new people. And that's what I usually
like a husband?
Well, you know, he's became a zombie.
Yeah, she shed her husband and she got a new man for a second who, you know, was able to kiss her hand and then blow himself up.
Yeah, well,
that was such a strange romantic turn. Like I was not predicting that for the whole movie that would happen. They seemed like two separate people for most of the movie. They didn't seem like
desperate times, you know.
I thought that they were leaning towards it a few different times because they seemed like the most, in addition to Ving Rhames' character, they seemed like the most competent. But I was really invested in Ving Rhames' relationship with the gun store owner across the street.
Yeah.
I thought that was like actually
Andy?
like a really beautiful relationship.
Wasn't Andy?
Yeah.
And sorry?
Andy's gun shop or whatever.
Yeah. I was really hopeful that there was something beautiful brewing there, and was really sad for him when that ended. You know, I love Sarah Polley, and I hope she got a good payday for this. And she brings a lot of sort of like groundedness to the film. Like I was really, one of the things I did like so much is that this movie starts and it does not stop.
Oh no, yeah, there's no saggy middle in this.
You don't catch your breath. Oh, I think there's a saggy middle. I gotta say, like, I was a bit bored with mid because I wanted to spend a little bit more time with Mekhi Phifer and his obviously zombified like pregnant girlfriend. Like I really like Mekhi Phifer. I think he's a great talent. And I understand why they did it, like structurally, to like, sort of have the payoff of that story be what it was. But I would have just enjoyed a little bit more time with him and to have that be even more meaningful. Like I actually don't need to watch Ty Burrell like ram that woman from behind and film them. Like that's that's actually not like
there was a couple of just random scenes like that.
And then like
boobs just running down the street.
And then at the end, like after the credits, you get the naked boobs. Like I was just like, yeah, okay, like this. There's like someone being serviced in this that is an audience member that's not me. Like, but like, yeah, like I would have just like preferred maybe to like spend a bit more time with the various folks and see how they sort of like interact with each other and like give that, like if we're supposed to care about this budding relationship between Sarah Polley and like whatever his name is, give it a couple minutes.
Yeah. But I really like that the character arc of our security guard, who at the beginning of the movie, it's an awful, awful human. And by the end, he tries to save everybody.
But like, we also don't see how that really comes to be. Like, we lock him up. Based on this movie, jail is a good place where you can reform somebody, as long as that jail is a small dungeon in a security office in a mall with a zombie apocalypse going on inside. You know what I mean? Like, there's just we don't get to see how he becomes a better person, really.
Well, I would I'll disagree, because I noticed that there was the scene with him reading like Cosmo or whatever to his friend, and he's like, what are the essential ingredients of a relationship? And it was trust. And he goes, oh, trust, like that. And then we see him has to leave his little prison cell to go and help them get the generator started. And they trust him.
I feel like I did not clock this Cosmo scene at all.
Oh, really? I thought it was like a really great arc. I thought for like, it was all like redemption. He was horrible and he didn't trust anybody and he was afraid of the world, to come at the end to be friends with people and to care about them and want to take care of them and share in. I thought that was like, to me, honestly, he was really the only character in this movie that got that. Because in a weird way, Sarah Polley sort of, I don't want to say devolved, but I mean, I'm hoping at the beginning of the movie she was a happy person. I mean, we do see her have a lovely final evening, as it turns out, with her husband. Sure, maybe if they hadn't been having sex in the shower, they would have had the emergency alert. But, whatever.
This film even chooses to punish married people having sex. That's
so. This movie is notable for a couple of things. Most people want to talk about how the first 10 to 15 minutes of the film, where they set it up before they kind of start the film with the title, is like the perfect setup for a zombie movie. Like it's respected as a movie for that. And then secondly, it was one of the first zombie movies, along with 28 Days Later, to introduce zombies running fast.
Yeah.
Instead of staggering around.
So I do remember watching 28 Days Later and going, I don't like fast zombies. I remember feeling very disappointed in this new development.
Why? Why didn't you like fast zombies?
Because it really just, I guess I got used to slow zombies. I do remember I watched...
Okay.
I have seen a couple of times we were almost going to do Night of the Living Dead from 1966, which is, I guess, I don't want to say the first zombie movie. There's probably something else, but the first one, they're really popular, and George A. Romero and all that. But the zombies are just really, really slow, and so they're really easy to kill. And so it just seemed to give people a more of a fighting chance or an opportunity to have another story rather than always being afraid to be outside, because they're just like running like madmen just all over the place. So yeah, I remember being disappointed. I think now it's just a given.
It's just normalized.
Yeah, it's just normalized now. We don't do slow zombies anymore.
Fast zombies they're
fast. That's it.
Expect to see. Yeah.
I think like I don't know, a fast zombie to me, I mean, I get why they would want it because it's you got to have some urgency. You want some pep in your step when you're being like stalked and chased, and like if they're just slowly lumbering towards you, then you could be a mall walker and sort of get out of the way. So I get it. Like I understand why the decision was made to sort of speed them up, and I understand why you can't go back from that as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just we invented guns and now we're just stuck with them. I like thinking of it as another part of the mindlessness of like once you become a zombie, of course you're into running.
Funny. Yeah.
Because I'm a terrible human being who judges runners.
But you know what else 28 Days Later did, which was different than Dawn of the Dead, was that it was just, it wasn't so much getting bitten, it was the blood, if you got the blood on you. So I remember, and I will remember this forever because it bothers me so much. Brendan Gleeson is in 28 Days Later. And he looks up and there's a dead zombie hanging off something. And the blood goes right into his open eye. And then he becomes a zombie instantly.
Oh, so you don't even need...
You don't need to be bitten in that
You don't need the bite.
Mm-mm. Whereas, and this one also bothers me, like, I feel like at this point, if you're going to do a zombie movie, the people in your movie have to know that there's a zombie movie genre. So when we got Sarah Polley going, I think it's the bite. I think what happens is you get bitten, and then, are you sure? I don't know. Like, that feels dumb to me. I feel like we're past that. I feel like the universe that, like that line, because I scoffed when I read the line in the outline where they were trying to base as much on reality. Well, I'm sorry. Reality is knowing zombie films.
Is it?
I mean,
I wouldn't know that. I would be Sarah Polley being like...
You didn't know if you get bit by a zombie, you become a zombie?
No.
Wow.
Okay,
Interesting. Wow. Interesting. I mean, one of my favorite pop culture moments in television is the Halloween episode of Community where the dean buys tainted army taco meat and it accidentally turns everyone at the Halloween party into zombies. Yeah. And
that's a good one.
Ken Jeong, his character, he gets to go around saying to people, "You bit?" And it makes me laugh so hard every single time. Yeah, "you bit" is the question for zombie stuff. AG, I'm so sorry.
That
you didn't know.
I didn't watch Community.
Well, I worry for you. I'm glad we've had this.
I know it's a vampire thing because I've watched Twilight. All of Twilight.
You know what? We're changing your life through these films. We're making you so prepared for so many different monster apocalypses.
If you were just to not have seen this movie and the zombie apocalypse happens, what would happen? Like, you just wouldn't even know to make sure you're not bitten. Like, I'm afraid for you. It's like you don't have street smarts or something.
It's so wild to me that they decided to they decided to just like when they fortify their buses in what is absolutely the dumbest idea for escape ever. And they leave all of that open space so that they can run chainsaws while everyone else is just not even strapped in. Everyone's just standing around with loose chainsaws. And obviously someone gets their arm cut off. Like, obviously.
How? Like, that was a dumb scene, I gotta say.
That's why it's not romantic, Lisa. And I really disagree with Sarah Polley's assessment there. But like, just in general, like, their plan is to sort of blow some stuff up. And like, they do this like fancy scene where they throw the propane tank and they like, Michael Kelly shoots it. And like, there's a lot of open air on that truck. We don't see a single singed arm. We don't see any kind of blowback or any kind of effect. Like, there's just... The whole grounded in reality thing is also a sentence that I took a little umbrage with in the beginning.
Yeah,
as well.
it just,
so like,
there
really?
Yeah, there were some decisions made that, I mean, grounded in reality. Okay. So, I mean, I feel like the most upsetting scene in the entire, obviously, is Mekhi Phifer's baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
the birth scene was like pretty traumatic.
Gratuitous. Yeah.
I mean, I appreciated it. I also really appreciated I knew it wasn't going to be good when I saw him holding this little pink blanket in his hand. When Mekhi Phifer delivers the line, "It's a girl," and he's obviously like his mind has snapped. And I knew it wasn't going to be pretty what we were going to look at. But didn't you think of Renesmee?
Yes.
Like as soon as you saw that little squirming zombie baby?
Sure.
I thought of Renesmee immediately.
Renesmee wasn't going to eat you. So that's the...
Yes, she was. She's all vampire. She wants a...
Well, no, like... bet your face right off or something like that. But also, I think, though, that scene and what I was saying about, like, these movies is that there's still that hopefulness. Like, he's thinking... maybe if
there's stakes there.
Right? There are stakes there. That if I just tie her up, I'll deliver this baby. And then this dream I have for this future to give this child a better life than mine. Whoa. Tall order in a zombie apocalypse. But, there's not much else you've got going.
I love how like Lisa's projected all these character traits on these people like that we barely get to know in these movies.
But he has that monologue with Bing Rainey.
Yeah, he does say.
Right?
He says what he wants. Like that, and that's why I like his character so much, is because like we actually spend time with him and understand what his motivations are. Like we get to find the other guy, turns out he's had 3 wives that none of the marriages have worked out. And he also had a child, but we don't know, like, I guess we're take it to understand that like maybe the kid's dead. Like we don't really know. I love that the 3 wives is not a red flag to Anna, because she's saw her husband turn into a zombie and he tried to eat her, and then she had to flee the house, and she's seen some stuff, she's been through some stuff. I love that we like get a glimpse of her life that's like it's pretty good. And again, we just don't spend enough time with her character throughout the rest of the film.
Well, we don't with any of the women at all. Like it's a real short change for the women. And I know everyone got so excited about the Zack Snyder Justice League or whatever director's cut a couple of years ago. That was a big deal. I'd rather see a director's cut of this movie, because as you said before, you think there's got to be some stuff missing if you're going to make a movie of 140. As much as I respect that, I do feel like we could have had a little bit more going on.
Yeah, like just like we probably didn't. I don't know. Like I think that there is more that was left on the cutting room floor that would have like connected us to the characters a little bit more. Like countless shots of just like brains exploding. Like that's not actually that interesting to me. And again, it makes it feel more like a video game. And like I appreciated the callousness with which they sort of like immediately start playing like celebrity, like, shoot Burt Reynolds or whatever, like things like that. Like, and I do appreciate that Anna continues to try and like have some sort of like moral code that like makes other people think twice about sort of like the slippery slope of who gets to live and who has to die.
Yeah. However, she's 100% wrong though.
Well, yeah. But I mean, she's a nurse. Like her whole thing is she's supposed to save lives. Like I understand where she's coming from on that regard, but like the quick and very purposeful way with which she kills Ty Burrell once he becomes a vampire, I liked it. I was like, I know this is like, sort of your character devolving, but I appreciate this. I understand why you want this man dead.
Okay, but that's what I'm wondering. Like, is she devolving, or like, are we supposed to have seen her at the beginning of the movie as being someone a little bit weak or something? Or
well, she's adapting.
Yeah, okay. That's
you could say devolving, or you could say adapting.
Yeah.
It depends on like your view of like what you think you would do in an apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean,
where it's all zombies.
Did she need to have a catchphrase when she shot a zombie? No, she did not. But maybe that's part of the adaptation process.
So what did you think of the ending of this movie, where like there's kind of like a extended ending?
Yeah, I hated it.
Tacked on to the ending that changes the story.
I like never needed to see those maggots. I needed to pee so badly. I just like wanted to get out of my living room and into the bathroom. Kept waiting, like these snatches of like, I don't mind like if you're gonna do a found footage like whatever. Like, just save it for the sequel, man. Like, we don't need to see this end story in the end credits, you know?
But I mean, I guess like the thing that changes though is that you think in the regular ending, you think like, oh, there's a chance that
There's a
they
chance.
survive.
Mhm.
But then if you watch it to the end, you understand that there's not.
No, it's over. Everything's
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was extremely short-sighted to just immediately get off the boat,
Yeah, I thought that too.
everyone,
Yeah.
without maybe just like
Make it a
trying to
perimeter.
survey the island.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where they would have got off, and I don't know.
You must have been so happy though that the dog never died.
I was very excited about that. I did worry about.
But so are we to understand that like the dogs and zombies are the only thing left on Earth?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's why zombie movies always have sequels, because then in the next one you figure out a serum or something like that. Or
I guess there's all the people that lived underground in the bunkers that
there's
then
things like
come
that.
up for air or something.
I mean, in The Last of Us, they all have some kind of mushroom fungi thing.
Oh, that keeps them from turning into zombies?
No, that's what makes them in zombies. They have a
Oh,
fungi
okay.
thing.
I see.
But there's one in the story, which it actually is a video game, right? That was adapted into a TV show.
Yeah.
But the girl in it is, she seems to be immune. And so they're trying to see if they can extract her blood and make a serum. So that's always, to me, the logical thing with these zombie movies is you have a sequel because you're still looking for a serum of some sort.
Yeah, but you just need humans left to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's usually they go, like they go out into the woods and they find a bunch of people waiting or something. Like, what about climbing a tree? I've never, just as I said that, I've never seen a zombie film where people are hiding in trees.
Well, I mean, I guess then it gets to like the very heart of like how there are sort of like people who perhaps live quite isolated, remote lives, who, have not been sort of touched by our sort of gross colonizer hands, that could be perhaps fine and completely unscathed by a zombie apocalypse. And maybe this is a return to the earth.
But there is always one overarching principle of a zombie movie, which is the zombies aren't the really frightening thing. It's the other people you're with.
Yes.
That's the takeaway always from a zombie film, which is what, they all follow that same pattern, because as soon as our ragtag bunch of, people find the security guard, what do they turn out to be? The worst human beings possible, even worse than the zombies.
Yeah.
But they change.
Did anyone think that this was like a particularly well-written film?
I thought it was. Did you?
Okay. I didn't.
Oh.
I thought like I there weren't a lot of good lines. There wasn't a lot of sort of like memorable dialogue. Like, I don't know. I was thinking like that it hasn't aged that well. Like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I never saw it though in 2004. So this is my first time seeing it. So I'm seeing it in sort of a different time. And I'm also I feel also still, like I said at the beginning, seeing it in a different context, where in which we've had a global pandemic. We have sort of seen a very scaled down version of what it looks like when, things don't go the way that they're supposed to. AG, have you ever seen like any zombie films before?
I've seen Zombieland. That's the only one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's
like
not really like
that's the only one.
but that's not like chasing down, is it?
Yeah.
Wow. So this is like really going to be either an interesting month or a hard month for you.
Did you say you've seen Train to Busan?
Oh yeah, you're right. I've seen Train to Busan.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a fan of South Korean films.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited that we're going to do it. I think starting here is actually maybe like a good starting point, and then to like delve into all of these other
because this is
films.
pretty straight up.
Yeah, and then we're going to delve into all these other films that are actually from like all over the place and like a much more international approach to zombies, as opposed to a Zack Snyder approach to zombies.
Yeah.
Great.
Perfect.
Looking forward to it.
Well, did Dawn of the Dead 2004 pop?
I say yes. I had a good time watching it.
Excellent. AG?
I mean, I almost want to abstain from saying if it pops or not, because I just don't feel like I have a basis for talking about whether it's a good zombie film or not. Would I have ever watched it of my own volition? No, absolutely not. Will I watch it again? No, absolutely not. Did I have a fun time watching it? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, but like, I don't think we're necessarily saying, like, when we ask, does this pop? Like, it's like, does it, like, did you enjoy it? Like, do you think it has like
Any
kind
merit
of, like,
at all?
merit or value at
Yeah.
all?
I mean, I did enjoy entertaining a reverie of being like alone in a mall and like the joy of running around to different stores and the food court and whatever. Like that made me briefly happy. And then we returned to the movie again and I didn't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm glad that I watched it. I do love Sarah Polley, and I like some of the actors in this film as well. It's kind of a half pop for me though, because like I can't say that I really enjoyed it that much, but I did appreciate like that first like 12 minutes of nonstop action and a kind of relentless beginning to a film. And then the credits happen. Like I enjoy that and that's kind of one of the things I enjoyed about Firestarter too. You remember we just were there. We're in it. We don't really know what's going on. It's just starting and it's happening and we're as lost as the people trying to figure out what's happening. So I did appreciate that, but yeah, it's a half pop for me.
Okay, fair.
But we love to leave our episodes on something we genuinely recommend. You know what? I'd love to go first if that's okay with you two.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
I am reading The Other Gilmore Girl.
Oh, you
Kelly
are?
Bishop's book.
Okay.
I love it so much. So much. I'm doing the audiobook, so she's reading it to me with her like perfect voice. And I just really appreciate, like, as someone who had so much and has so much like love and sort of like interest in sort of like Broadway theater stuff, behind the scenes stuff, like obscure trivia about entertainment and movies and film and theater. Kelly Bishop is like right there from like the beginning, you know, being a part of a chorus line and like helping make that happen. And like she's there on Broadway and she's got these like different names and she's not like a huge name dropper, but she's just like, she's been around and she's been part of the business for a really long time. And like just seeing, like hearing her talk about different people who were big on stage that she would then go on to act with in like different films and different other, you know, it's just, anyway, it's great. I'm only about halfway through and I love it so much.
Perfect.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we do an episode about it. We haven't done a book club episode in so long.
I know. Holy cow.
I want everyone to, start reading it now if you can. AG, what about you? What would you like to recommend?
I'm going to recommend this series. I think I've talked about it before and I've recommended the season 1 of it. But since Lisa does every season of Emily in Paris, I thought I could dip back into it and recommend it again. But Slow Horses on Apple TV Plus is I'm watching season 3 right now and it's so good. It's a British spy thriller and it's based on the Slough House series of novels by Nick Herron, and it stars Gary Oldman and Kristen Scott Thomas and Jack Loudon. And it's just a good old fashioned spy thriller.
So fantastic. I agree.
It's very funny. And Gary Oldman is sort of like in the spirit of the Big Lebowski, sort of bathrobe, disheveled hero of the series.
Ooh, who do you think smelt worse? I bet it's Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof.
So in the spirit of that kind of hero, anti-hero of the series, like I recommend Slow Horses.
Cool. Thank you. And Lisa, what about you?
Yeah, so I finally watched a movie that got quite a bit of hype earlier when it came out, and I really enjoyed it. Challengers, the tennis movie.
I never watched it.
Yeah.
Is it good?
I
I've heard
really,
it's good. I've heard it's great.
Zendaya is in it, directed by Luca. Let's see if I can get his last name. Guadagnino? Is that close, do you think? I think I just really like all his movies too, so I'm kind of impressed. But I just thought it was great, and I know the reviews have been quite mixed. But this sort of love triangle, movie about these 3 tennis players and what happens to them over the years, like it spans about 12 to 13 years in their relationship. I thought it was fascinating. I enjoyed every minute of it. Wasn't bored. I feel bad I missed it when it came out, but I'm done now.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to watch it. I still have not seen it somehow.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. So there we go.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening. You can hang out with us on social media channels. You could rate and review us 5 stars.
Yay!
And you can email us if you like. popthiscollective@gmail.com.
And I hope you're enjoying Zombie Month, because there are more installments to come. And that means our wonderful co-host and producer, Andrea Gin, will be watching a lot of zombie movies this month.
I'm excited about talking about Train to Busan because it's an excellent movie.
By the end, you will become an expert on, that blowing off of the back of its head didn't look as realistic as,
Great. Yeah. I look forward to it. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm excited for you, AG.
Mm-hmm. Should I wait a minute?
Journey. Wow.
There we go.
Thanks, Lisa. Again, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Amazing. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Or as Lisa
Bye.
said, that thing.